want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? It says, squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and welcome to a new week. We here, we getting it, we running it up. Make sure that my audio is right. We here, we getting it, we running it up. And I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, year of our Lord. And man, we almost halfway there. We are almost halfway there. You know what I was thinking as I was reviewing, and people were sending me a lot of these videos to review for Pride Month. They saying that this is Pride Month, ladies and gentlemen, and people have been sending me a lot of videos. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, how do they get the best month of the year? How did we designate this month to be the best month of the year to give to them? And then when you think about Black History Month, which I don't think any of these months should be designated as anything I think that we ultimately are just giving our money over to retailers in order to justify celebrating something. So they got to market it to you, and that's the way that they do so. Black History Month, nevertheless, is in February, the shortest month of the year, the coldest month of the year, and I just think that that's so crazy to me. Even though black people are supposed to be tropical people, right? Anyways, welcome to the show. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. We got a lot to cover. A lot happened over the weekend. Before we get started, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping first and foremost. Thank you to Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. They are the sponsor of the show today. Thank you, Tiege Hanley, for always holding us down. You are the greatest sponsor on earth. So shout out to y'all. Again, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life and a free gift. That link is in the description. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It is a phenomenal product. Tiege Hanley, it's awesome. Secondly, best day to join the Patreon was Saturday, but this is the first actual weekday of the month. So what do I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all on Friday? I said, y'all, don't get it on Thursday. Don't get it on Friday. Get it on the beginning of the month. The best day to join the Bag Chasers. The best day to join the Patreon. I am putting up, I wanted to wait till the beginning of the month. I'm putting up the actual Patreon meetup information today. Already made, already scheduled to go out. Patreon meetup information for where we meeting up first. Once I put it up, I'm not going to mention anything about it on this live stream because everything is Patreon exclusive going forward, all right? Patreon meetup information is going to be linked in the description, or it's in the description and pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Bag Chasers. In addition to that, make sure you tap into the Discord. There's a link to any of the most recent videos. And we got Stock Club this week. Okay? So if you're not a Bag Chaser, if you're not a Patreon member, if you want to go out there and buy some McDonald's, or you want to talk about getting rich, it's going to be a difference. All right. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. I'm going to mention throughout the show because the best time to join is the beginning of the month. Last but not least, I am wearing a Testa, Testa hat. Somebody, a Bag Chaser, sent this to me and they said, "Greetings, Anton. My name is TJ and I really enjoy watching your YouTube videos. I noticed you want to worn a few different hats in your videos and I wanted to send you a few hats your way. Hope you like them. Testa hats are made with 100% hemp fabric. Hemp fabrics are made with natural fibers, making it great for moisture absorption and keeping you dry. Antimicrobial properties to reduce odor and long lasting. If you sweat a lot, these hats are a must add to your headwear collection. You can go and get these at, what is this? Wear Testa, WEARTESTA.com. WearTesta.com on Twitter. It's at @wear_Testa. On Instagram, it's at @wear_Testa. I'm wearing one right now. This is what the hat looks like in this. All right. So this is what the hat looks like. It's pretty dope. This is what the back is. The back of my black hat is actually similar, except it got the black things right there, right here. Right. And then the inside of the hat. All right, so it's a dope hat. I actually been wearing it all weekend. I am not getting paid for this. I always like to highlight dope content creators or dope people that send me products that's a part of the Chasers. So if you are interested, you can go to weartesta.com and purchase the hat. Thank you for sending me the hat for free. I've been wearing it all weekend. It is an actual great product, so I appreciate you for sending me this. It's dope. It's dope. So I always like to support entrepreneurs and content creators. And I appreciate y'all. Again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And I think it's time to go ahead and get started with the show. Before we get started with the show, first thing that I want to do is I want to read super chats and then acknowledge the early Cash Appers. So first and foremost, let me give a round of applause to my guy, Mike That Dude. Mike That Dude is always supporting the platform. Thank you for rocking out with us, Mike That Dude. I appreciate you on Cash App. And then in addition to that, I want to acknowledge a couple of the early super chatters. Tech Noop is in the building, says, AD, did you check out the new go-kart track in Metro Detroit? It's supposed to be a Mario Kart replica. No, I haven't yet. I know about it, but I haven't yet. So shout out to you. I appreciate you. Maybe I'll check that out this weekend. Michigan Train Central, where they put over $1 billion into it, is opening this upcoming weekend. So I'm definitely going to be over there. If y'all want to holler at your boy, you want to come and kick it with me, make sure you do that. In addition to that, Pharaoh. Shout out to Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, new bag chaser as of Saturday. Manager just said I can get unlimited OT time to work 16 hours a day. Get that bag, bro. But one thing that I want to share with y'all, and we're going to do it at the end of the video, is what you do with the money once you get it. It's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but it's a lot of people that still live paycheck to paycheck, Pharaoh. So we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to get into it. We got a lot to cover. All of this particular show is going to be primarily centered around women. All right? Most of it, not all of it, most of the content that we talk about today is going to be centered around women and women leadership. Women and women leadership. Also, we got the Q show tonight, so that should be popping. So again, Patreon, Testa, support your fellow entrepreneurs, dope products, new brand launching soon. Pretty Girls Ruin Lives. We gonna get there. How y'all feel this morning? Marriage, Politics, and Sports says, I got that fireball for you. Thank you, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Y'all give me one word inside of the chat before we get it popping. Because once we get rolling, we got a lot to cover today, all right? So I hope y'all gird up, and we're going to get to it. We got a whole 2-hour-plus show today to do. Y'all let me know one word inside of the chat of how y'all feeling today before we get started with the show, and then we're going to get it popping. Yeah, man, we got the Q show tonight. 2K sent me some crazy subjects that we probably going to be talking about. So I don't know what tonight is going to be like. Tonight is going to be wild. I already know what it's going to be like. I'm going to just go ahead and gird up and prepare myself. Tonight should be pretty wild, and we're going to see what's happening in these streets. Shout out to your car. I appreciate you, Kojak, everybody that's in the chat. Thank you to everybody. Osriel, I see y'all. I see Ready, Blessed, Like a King. Shout out to Miami-Dade County Clerk of the Courts. I appreciate you also. Superb, Blessed. Focus, says Clavetta Drew. Simi says good. I appreciate you. Outstanding, motivated. Trucking, good. Vanglorious. I see y'all. Need a bag? What do you need a bag? What you need a bag to do? So y'all can ruin it, go out here and buy some drugs, get some trees. Unstoppable, blessed, money on my mind, thoughtful in Cali, unemployed. Look like you need to get some act right in your juice. You know what I'm saying? Hopeful, says Eric Daniels. Shout out to Latrell. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Focus, 2K is a wild boy. Unsettled, patiently enduring. Okay, Marcella. Bleak. What is up with y'all? What's going on out here in these streets? What's bleak? Phenomenal, optimistic. Women shouldn't be leaders. That's why we're going down here. Hill, it's the men's fault for allowing it. Interesting. Magnificent. Chilling. Shout out to Devastator. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Shout out to Miss T. Jones says, hey, new bag chaser, hashtag blessed. Winning. Glad to be here. A little sleepy, says sister. Thankful, challenging. Good morning, folks. Fantastic. All right. I see y'all. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started with the show. We got a lot to cover. Make sure y'all send this to y'all friends and family. This is the greatest morning show on earth. And without further ado, you know what we do. We got to get into quick hits, ladies and gentlemen. Quick hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show. Shout out to Chris James. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily want to dedicate an entire subject or entire segment to each individual subject, but we want to keep you guys informed on what's going on in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, first things first, Michelle Obama's mother passed away. Michelle Obama's mother passed away. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen.
The mother of former First Lady Michelle Obama passed away today.
Marion Robinson, once known as the first grandmother of the White House during the Obama administration. More now from WGN's Shannon Halligan.
When her son-in-law, Barack Obama, was elected president, Marion Robinson agreed to move into the White House. But after, she moved back here to her hometown of Chicago.
I'm going to read a story today.
From Chicago to the White House and back, Marion Shields Robinson was born on the South Side in 1937. That's where she married and raised 2 children, Craig and former First Lady Michelle Obama. On Friday, family members announced Robinson had died at the age of 86.
I'm Michelle, otherwise known as Marion Robinson's daughter.
The Obama Foundation released this tribute in 2022 from the former First Lady to her mother.
My mother gave me that nonstop, unconditional love that was so important for me to grow up. In so many ways, she fostered in me a deep sense of confidence in who I was and who I could be by teaching me how to think for myself.
Barack and Michelle Obama released a statement on the passing of Mrs. Marion Robinson. In it, they credit her with being the family's rock during their time at the White House, saying she agreed to move to the White House to help care for Malia and Sasha after a healthy nudge. Michelle Obama said, quote, "My mom, Marion Robinson, was my rock, always there for whatever I needed. She was the same steady backstop for our entire family, and we are heartbroken to share she passed away today." When the Obama Presidential Center opens in Jackson Park, there will be an exhibit dedicated to Marion Robinson.
It's an exhibit called Opening the White House, and it's infused with so many of the values that my mother instilled in me. Community, family, bringing people in, creating a warm, welcoming space where everyone feels at home.
Governor J.B. Pritzker expressed condolences to the family, saying her legacy inspires us to live as she did, with kindness, passion, and strength.
Y'all gotta start extending some grace, man. I think that whenever somebody passes away or a family member passes away, it's not a time to be critical. It's a time to be reflective, right? And maybe not even reflective on them, because she may not have necessarily meant anything to us in particular, but more or less a time to be reflective on what your life purpose is. And when I see people say ugly stuff inside of the chat, when somebody else's mom passed away, I think it's disrespectful. And, it would be hypocritical for me to not be consistent across the board. And that I remember when Kevin Samuels passed away, I went on a warpath on everybody that had some wild stuff to say about him. Not only because he was a good friend of mine, but because I think it's disrespectful to say things about somebody that's passed away that can't, A, come back and defend themselves, and B, when family of whoever it is, whether you actually agree with them or disagree with them, are grieving. When people are grieving, what's up, Q? And so I think it's disrespectful. I think it's very, very disrespectful to say crazy stuff about people's family members, especially in a time of grief. Even enemies show respect to their enemy, and they give, a level of compassion or time to grieve to their ops. A lot of times, maybe not in the black community, but in rules of war, and a lot of times, even enemies extend grace for people to be able to bury their loved ones and show respect. So a lot of y'all are incredibly disrespectful, and y'all just don't know how to have an off switch, or you don't know how to have balance. And so I don't necessarily care for it. It did make news, and so I'm going to share it with you guys. But it is very disrespectful to talk negatively about people, or to, speak ill of somebody when they are grieving, or when they have a loved one that's passed, right? For me personally, the way that I look at this and the way that I take it in is, what up, Quentin? What up, Q? The way that I look at it and the way that I take it in is that I would love to live to be 86-year-old in good health. You can accomplish a lot, and it also forces me to be very mindful, to be very, very intentional with my time, and to look at the time that we have on this earth as the present, and don't waste a minute of it whining, complaining, or not leaning into the thing that's best for you. So That's what's going on with Michelle Obama's mother, who passed away. In addition to that, unruly children is terrorizing Philly. Check it out.
Swarms of unruly teenagers turned a South Jersey carnival upside down. Police took a dozen of them away in handcuffs.
And we've obtained new video overnight that shows the teens outside causing chaos outside of a grocery store in Gloucester Township. And then police were forced to move in quickly and break it all up.
Action News reporter Catherine Scott is live at Gloucester Township Police, which Catherine is right near where this all happened.
Yeah, you can see the proximity. The police department is right behind me, and it's right next to this park where this event was taking place. Police say families were waiting for the drone light show when officers working security noticed an influx of juveniles and young adults being dropped off. Soon there was chaos.
You know, it's happening all over. I think it was in Ocean City. There's another part of Philadelphia that had to shut down their little fairs because of fighting going on. And it's happening a lot nowadays, and so it's very scary.
You can see cell phone video from Saturday night.
Idiots.
The melee spilling out to a nearby shopping center in Gloucester Township.
Why are young people so destructive? I don't understand that. It's like today they can't just get together and bust it down and dance and, you know, whatever. They got to tear up the actual grocery stores and throw rocks and break windows and beat people up and ultimately get into fights and stuff like that. Y'all don't know how to have, like, y'all not interested in having a good time and having fun. I remember when we was, younger, we was more concerned about trying to get women. We wasn't even trying to be aggressive like this. If it wasn't about hooping or getting women, we wasn't even about that.
From Veterans Memorial Park, where an annual family event was taking place to raise funds for the Gloucester Township Scholarship Committee. Police say around 500 young people gathered at the basketball courts just after 8:30 p.m., fighting and running recklessly through the crowd.
And it's always the familiar subjects. We all know what they look, even with it blurred out. I know what they look like, even with it blurred out. It's always a familiar subject. Man, black people, get y'all kids, man. Get y'all kids. Y'all kids is out of control. Get your cheering and grab them up and hem them up by their collar and say, hey, before you go out there, or maybe you shouldn't even be going out if you can't control yourself, get y'all cheering, man.
Courts just after 8:30 p.m., fighting and running recklessly through the crowd. Officers quickly made 2 arrests, but say the crowd continued to remain hostile and disorderly. Police say the teens then moved to a shopping center parking lot where fights broke out over the next 2 hours. Authorities say 33-year-old Ronald Jones of Camden rode his bicycle into a group of police officers, striking one in the back and knocking him to the ground. Jones was arrested and also charged for allegedly trying to slip out of his handcuffs while being transported to police headquarters. In all, 12 people were arrested, including 2 men and 10 teens. Several teens reported being assaulted, and at least 2 teens reported minor injuries. 3 officers also sustained minor injuries.
To my surprise, there were a large group of teenagers wearing...
Not another large gathering. What did they wear, ma'am? Barbara Berry. What were they having on?
black hoodies. The hoods were up. And
large gathering, young people, black hoodies.
They had black face masks on, which startled me. We only came for the drone show. So it was startling. I thought, okay, this is not something you normally see in Gloucester Township.
God bless Philadelphia, and what's happening over there is happening all across the nation. I promise you I'm going to share it with you today. And then last but not least, Caitlin Clark. So I'm going to cover this a little bit more extensively in my videos on the Anton Daniels channel today. And we also have launched police videos on Room 9, so make sure you go and subscribe to that and check that out. But Caitlin Clark is making news because these bully chicks in the WNBA refuse to leave her alone. Check it out.
New reaction after this controversial foul on Caitlin Clark.
Unnecessary.
Clark's Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky on Saturday. The Sky's Kennedy Carter hitting a shot, then heading over to Clark and shoulder checking her. The refs called it a common foul, but the league yesterday upgraded the call to a flagrant foul.
Her and Carter were jawing a little bit back and forth the last few possessions.
The two were seen before the play, exchanging words at the other end of the court. Carter refused to answer questions about the foul after the game.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
But later, Carter saying this on social media. Besides three-point shooting, What does she bring to the table?
I think at this point, I know I'm going to take a couple hard shots a game.
They using Kevin Samuel's talking point saying, what does she bring to the table too?
Clark's coach calling the foul unacceptable.
That was a non-basketball play that happened.
Many online criticize the foul. Tennis great Martina Navratilova saying this is not okay. Some comparing it to this hit on rookie Angel Reese from Melissa Thomas, which got Thomas ejected from the game. Others say tough hits are just part of the game. Caitlin is grown and in a grown woman's league. She'll be all right, said one observer. Clark, before last night's game against the Liberty, seemed to agree.
I grew up playing the basketball with the boys, so it's always been physical and feisty, and that's what it is. And you got to find a way to hold your own. So it kind of reminds me of that. And then I grew up with two brothers, and things were about very, very physical, a lot of blood, a lot of tears.
The WNBA also fined Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky after Reese skipped the post-game news conference.
Don't get fined. You don't make but $37,000 a year. It's tough out here. I don't know why they so against this good white woman, this heterosexual white woman. But I'm going to deep dive into that a little bit more and give y'all my opinion on what's going on the Anton Daniels channel. I'm going to talk about that later. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. I want to read a few of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Latrell, thank you for the 2-ball. I thank you. I appreciate you for supporting the platform, big dog. Much, much appreciated. Devastator is in the building, says ready for them quick hits and to get my daily news. The greatest news show on the face of this earth. Let me give a shout out to my dog, Chris James, in the building. Man, I've been missing my morning show, but I'm tuned in. Don't miss. Chris, I know you rich already, but you got to get your daily source of news so we can get richer. Don't miss, Chris. Thank you for supporting the platform. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. 876 vlog says, new chaser in the building. If y'all have not joined the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Charles Blanco, I appreciate you, says, finally watching live. It's an honor to be here. I'm out of work today. Shout out to the Chasers. PS, stop picking on the Bronx. The Bronx be picking on us. You know what I'm saying? Charles Blanco, I appreciate you. J Dub says, I would love a stock club breakdown about waste management purchasing a Stericycle. I appreciate you. Yeah, we're going to cover it this week. I appreciate you too, my friend. And then last but not least, my girl, P. Shank, says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels. Let me give a shout out to P. Shank. P. Shank always supporting the platform too. I appreciate you, love. Again, if you guys have not joined the Bag Chasers, today I am dropping a post based off of letting y'all know exactly when the meetup is, where to go, how to do it. And we're going to have a conversation about that. I'm bringing all of my friends. We got Stock Club coming this week, and we got some videos to drop for y'all. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into that. Let's continue on with the show. So we got a lot to cover. Again, first and foremost, we want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on across America, not just with the crime. We're going to get to the crime shortly, but Atlanta is under fire, and its leadership is being criticized for a water main break, a huge water main break that's basically stopped water at the airport. Fire departments is starting to be affected. But let me keep y'all up to date on what's going on over in Atlanta.
To Atlanta now, where tonight the city's water crisis is threatening to expand. The city, already under a state of emergency, is investigating 2 more potential water main breaks. CBS's Dave Malkoff is in the thick of it there in Atlanta with more on that. Dave, good evening.
Good evening, Jerika. This water main break has been going since Friday. That sign back there, twisting back and forth, is 8 feet tall.
That's crazy.
Shooting from the ground like a geyser, this water main break created a river rushing through the streets of Atlanta. There was another big break west of downtown, and the city is investigating 2 more potential breaks. For a time, water stopped flowing at Atlanta's airport. And
do we have an infrastructure problem? Shout out to Q. I appreciate you. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Do we have an infrastructure problem inside the United States of America? I'm wondering why we spend so much money on social services, but we don't spend more money improving the infrastructure inside of the United States of America.
and at several area hospitals where they had to relocate patients and cancel elective surgeries. By Saturday, crews had the first break patched up and some water was restored. Atlanta's water system provides water for 1.2 million people. Those living within 50 square miles in the heart of Atlanta have had no clean water to drink since Friday. There's water?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Lots of water.
Lots and lots of water.
Can he drink any of it?
Nope.
City officials have put some of the blame on decaying pipes. Others were unhappy that they didn't immediately hear from their mayor, Andre Dickens. Saturday night, he issued a state of emergency.
We actually definitely understand your frustration.
I'm upset.
Among the mayor's critics, rapper Megan Thee Stallion, whose Friday and Saturday night shows at State Farm Arena were canceled.
That's really crazy that a major city in the U.S. is going this long without no water.
Now, you know, let me tell you something. One thing we know about black people and Meg Thee Stallion fans, let me tell you something, bro. Meg Thee Stallion recently had a concert here in Detroit, right, at Little Caesars Arena. And I was so amazed at the show out and the turnout. And I met a lot of people. I met some state reps that I'm staying in touch with at the restaurant and stuff like that. But Meg Thee Stallion, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, had a concert here in Detroit. And boy, I will tell you, the amount of big backs that was walking to that show was insane. Maybe God was trying to do some water main breaks in order to prevent all of the zestiness and the big backs from showing up. Because I'm telling you, boy, the support is incredible. I didn't realize that her presence and that she was making as much money and she had as much of a fan base, they were showing out like it was a Beyonce concert. I said, look at all of these big girls. I didn't know Detroit had this many big women that was walking to the Meg Thee Stallion concert. Because, you know, they was parking a little bit further out. And then I got my office down here and then I got my spot. And so I was like, man, what is all of these big girls doing here? Honest to God, I was saying to myself, I said, who are all of these female football players walking to Little Caesars Arena? Who's over there? And so lo and behold, I jump in my car and I zoom past and I look at the big old billboard and it says Meg Thee Stallion featuring Glorilla and some other people. I said, because I know Lizzo ain't on tour right now. And I was trying to figure out what in the world because usually you see all of the nice, petite, pretty girls or the girls that's making an effort. Even if you're not real small, like you could tell they're making an effort and they working on it. They doing their Pilates. They got their yoga in the park. They working hard. But I started seeing all of these sumo wrestlers walking down the street. And I said, what is going on? Honest to God, I said, hey. And why are they almost naked? Skirts was up to here. No couth. No couth whatsoever. So, I mean, I know we're talking about the Atlanta water main break, but I'm just telling you, I was highly concerned about what was going on in Metro Detroit. And I said, yo, I'm going to have to introduce to our city council a weight requirement for walking on the pavement because y'all messing up our infrastructure, which is probably leading to these water main breaks. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let me keep you up to date of what's going on in Atlanta, ladies and gentlemen.
Many people are struggling in the city of Atlanta today after several massive water main breaks led to a 2-day water outage. It shut down businesses and left faucets dry. A lot of people were very angry with the local government's response time. Dave Malkoff has more from Atlanta.
Crews worked around the clock this weekend to repair several water main breaks.
And you know what the funniest part about it is? They're going to have the nerve to go out to eat before the concert. Eating wings on their way to the concert. I said, no, heck no. No way, no how are we sitting here witnessing this in real time. I should have recorded that. That would have been a phenomenal TikTok video, boy.
The first burst erupted Friday morning near downtown Atlanta.
There was a decay. It's just the pipe, the age of the pipe.
later that night, another big water pipe broke in Midtown Atlanta, leaving many of the 1.2 million people served by the city's water system with no clean water to drink.
We ain't got no water. I got a newborn. We've been having to do all kinds of stuff. Get some water.
Dog, not having a newborn.
To drink.
We ain't got no water.
How are y'all? Gold teeth, hood in the back, poor housing. Yo, I don't understand poor people that have children. It is well, I do understand it. It's a part of it's what we do in order to keep y'all under duress and make a whole lot of money. Gold teeth having kids is wild with a face tattoo. Who busting it down for him?
I got a newborn. We've been having to do all kinds of stuff to get some water.
He got
I
goals
want
on
to
the
point
top
you
and
to
the
one
bottom.
specific aspect of this. You see that 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign back there? That shows you the speed and the power of the water coming out of the street.
Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens issued a state of emergency on Saturday as city officials face criticism for a more than 12-hour gap in updating residents on the situation.
What was he doing? Well, Mayor Andre Dickens apparently wanted to respond to the criticism and give people an update on his perspective of what was really going on with the water main break.
Now to an infrastructure crisis that's unfolding in Atlanta this morning. Water service has now returned after 3 major water main lines burst on Friday morning.
It turned into a 2-day water outage, putting residents under a boil water notice. Atlanta is just the latest.
It's something, as you mentioned, that cities across the United States are having to deal with the infrastructure issues. And so they're all coming up with ways to basically fund what's being mandated by the federal government to make those improvements.
All right, Priya, thank you very much for your reporting here.
We are now joined by Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens for more on the situation and what happens there. Mayor, first of all, I just want to give you a chance to respond to some of the criticism that Priya mentioned there. People saying there's flyers that say, help us find our mayor. Critical, you didn't address the media until 2 p.m. on Saturday because you were out of town in Memphis. Do you wish you had done things differently? What is your message to those who are upset with how this all went down?
Yeah, good morning. And definitely always want to stay communicative with the public. On this water main break happened, and about 1 o'clock on Friday, we let folks know about what was going on. And when I was indeed out of town to Memphis, Tennessee, for only about 23 hours, I came back and addressed the public directly about, where we were in the process of those repairs. I told them that I'd be communicating with them every 2 hours. They were definitely, wanting to make sure we were helping them figure out how would we get bottled water to them, how would we return service. And then we did get the first repair fixed right away at the end of Saturday, and then pressure started to fill back up so that individuals downstream, everyone had water, but we needed to make sure that they were under a boil water advisory. The second pipe burst that we are working on currently. I was there, every few hours, and also the crew's been there overnight. And we are at a place now where they are in the hole fixing it, and we should see some good results soon. I'm hoping that the boil water advisory can be lifted within the hour or within the next few hours. That will give folks a level of comfort. But all day yesterday, everyone had water. They just needed to boil it. But we had, major events at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 60,000 people there. We had individuals at the arena for a concert, 20,000 individuals there. We had 350,000 passengers at the world's busiest airport. All had pressure. Our hospital, Grady, Emory, all had enough pressure, and they still have enough pressure right now to continue to provide medical attention to the public. And we kept staying abreast of that and letting the public know every 2 hours.
That's actually not true, because they had to apparently cancel the Meg Thee Stallion concert, and Meg Thee Stallion went live because she was like, yo, y'all messing on my bag. So I'm not really sure how true that is, because I was getting news reports basically telling me that what was happening over at Atlanta Airport was that the airport was being severely affected by what was going on as far as the water crisis and the infrastructure problems that they was having over in Atlanta. So I'm not really sure who to believe right now. I know that NBC News tends to lean a little bit more liberal. I don't know if this guy's actually telling the truth, because what all of the outlets was reporting to me over the weekend was basically that everything was being affected in a negative way, and they had to cancel a lot of things, even though a lot of people had already scheduled and been in town for this whole situation. And then even to have to wait 24 hours, I don't care if you was out of town or not in Memphis, we basically live in a digital economy, and you don't have to be in Atlanta in order for you to give an update to the people on what was going on and how it is that they're supposed to move according to that. Like, they shouldn't have to wait 24 hours for leadership to address them and give some insight on whether or not you should boil water or anything like that. So I don't know how true this is, and I'm not sure exactly if he's telling the truth or not. I'm getting it from two different ways. He's saying one thing, they saying the other thing. And so let me just see if he has anything else to add into this before we move over into the next subject.
Prior to that, though, as Priya had mentioned, especially in those first 24 hours, many residents who were without water and in that boil water area were not receiving information for long stretches of time. I think between that and just the fact that this happened in such a major city, and Atlanta's watershed management says the city could experience up to 30 water main breaks, I think might have a lot of people wondering, how could this happen in such a major city in America? What is being done to try to upgrade the infrastructure at a pace that means that this isn't going to happen to major parts of your city again?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to invest even more in our infrastructure. This is a result of crumbling infrastructure. Old pipes, there's pipes down there that's been since 1910, since 1930. The very pipes you're showing right now are the ones I'm talking about that are over 100 years old. And we have to upgrade and update these systems and these pipes. And that's what, our go forward plan is. Our immediate plan is to get out of the boil water advisory to make sure that we resolve this this second major pipe burst. And that is where they are right now overnight. I was out there, they're out there right now fixing it. So you'll see us continue we have a short-term plan, which is where we are right now. And then the long-term plan is to invest in our infrastructure as stated across America. We have old pipes, and this is affecting us with a number of water main breaks across the city, across the United States. There were some smaller breaks that also happened. I was out at one. It took about an hour to fix, about an hour and a half. So you'll see that throughout the city and throughout the region, small breaks or major breaks are happening. This one that occurred on Friday just so happened to be in the downtown area and literally affected our major convention center, our arenas, our stadiums, our hospitals, even City Hall. But where I'm at right now is in City Hall. We have water. We have the ability to hold city council meetings and to receive the public. And we're just waiting for this boil water advisory to go away.
All right.
I think that we are vastly underfunded when it comes to
Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, thank you for your
updates that we need to be making to our infrastructure. And we spend so much money, and it's your tax dollars. That's the thing that y'all not really taking into consideration, is that your tax dollars, you pay y'all taxes. Y'all doing what y'all supposed, aside from the scammers and the PPPers and the people that's finessing the system, right? But in a general sense, every single day when you get your paycheck, and the last person in the last review video that we do on this live stream today, I'm going to break that down for you. But every single day, you guys pay your taxes. You trade in your time for money. They take their cut without your input. They say, listen, not only are we going to take our cut from your paycheck, but the money that you have left over, we also want you to pay property taxes on it if you decide that you want to own a home and keep shelter above your head. You also got to pay if you go and buy groceries or you go and buy goods and services. You got to pay sales taxes on that, right? You also have to pay insurance taxes. You also got to pay employment taxes. We are being taxed to death. We are literally giving our money over into the state, cities, and federal government without any kind of representation. And then they feel like they're entitled, to your money to give themselves raises. They vote themselves raises. They take care of themselves. We're going to talk about that with Tiffany Henyard. We got to go over what happened in Thornton Township. And you know what the funniest part about it is? They'll go and they'll say, hey, listen, we're promising student loans forgiveness for people that took out loans with your tax dollars. So every time you pay, not only is the deficit being raised up, so now they're using your tax dollars to pay interest for money that's owed to the tune of over $30 trillion. But they also promise to forgive your student loans with your tax dollars to people that don't necessarily deserve it. And that's the part that I think that we missing in this conversation is that they're managing your money. They're literally managing your money. They're using your money to take care of people that you don't even agree with. And regardless of whether you agree with it or not, you still got to pay into the system. Isn't that like disheartening that no matter what happens, you still got to get this money over to the federal government? I don't even look at the like my actual work stuff that I got going on. I don't even look at it no more. I don't even look at that paycheck no more. I just be like, that's the government's. That's big daddies.
Time this morning, we do appreciate
that is 100% big daddies right there. Anyways, let me go ahead and get back to the show. I definitely want to keep you guys up to date on what was happening over in Atlanta. I'm going to read a few of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. We got a lot to cover today. Q says, July 27th, Patreon meetup is in H-Town. H-Town. Peace up. H-Town down. Oh, that's Atlanta? I think that's Atlanta. Yeah, I think that's Atlanta. I'm sorry. Houston, H-Town. Anton said he coming back through Houston. Oh, look at that animal. Pretty nice. Anton said he coming back through H-Town to see what's happening out in these streets. Yeah, and I'm bringing my girl Q with me. Shout out to Q. I appreciate you, baby girl. Make sure y'all join that live stream tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. Bon Cajor says, hello, Anton Daniels. Just became a bag chaser. Just like my father who turned me on to you. Thank you for all that you do. I got a father and son duo out here in these streets as chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. The best day to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. So do that. Optimus Prime says, Anton, leave the Dinobots alone. Man, it was some big girls. Some big girls. Zach says they spending all of that money on the migrants. They can't afford to fix the city. It's a shame, ain't it? Chicago got a whole $500 million budget for that junk, or Illinois anyways. Larry Summers says the Stericycle deal is that what Munger and Buffett call a Jewish treasury note can buy it for $59, and Waste Management will buy it from you for $62. Hashtag Chasers. Shout out to the Chasers. We got Stock Club coming up this week. I am an owner of Republic Services, and so we're going to get there. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. Mexico. So, the big news, the biggest trending news that's happening across the board in the United States of the Americas is Mexico. Mexico has recently elected a new president. This president just so happens to be the first woman president of Mexico, and she just so happened to be Jewish. All right? So we're going to deep dive into this, and then I'm going to also cover something that a lot of the news outlets aren't covering, and that there is a lot of Mexicans inside of the United States of America that was able to vote for the president of Mexico. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We're going to talk about female leadership today.
This morning, Mexico electing the first woman president and first Jewish president in its 200-year history. Claudia Sheinbaum, a close ally of Mexico's current president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, declaring victory overnight. The election also happening across the U.S., with 20 Mexican consulates allowing voters to cast ballots.
As a young adult, it is really exciting to come vote for my own country.
In Mexico, some voters waiting out.
Let me rewind that for y'all, because we're going to cover that a little bit more extensively. I'm going to rewind that. I want y'all to know what was going on. All right? I don't want y'all to be confused. Listen.
Mexican consulates allowing voters to cast ballots. You are declaring victory overnight. The election also happening across the U.S., with 20.
The election was also happening across the U.S. The election was also happening across the U.S. Now, I was not familiar with this. This is the first time that I've ever heard of this. I was not aware that you could be here in the United States of America. Thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you. I was not aware that you could be in the United States of America, legally and illegally, and still cast votes for the Mexican president. I was blown away when I started deep diving, because over the weekend, what I had the opportunity to do is deep dive to better understand exactly who this woman is, right? So I wanted to learn all about her. I learned about how she was the mayor over in Mexico City, how she eliminated crime, not eliminated it, but basically, lowered the amount of violent crimes that was happening in the city by double-digit gains, and some of the things that she learned. And what I found out was that a lot of what she learned was actually coming over here to visit the United States of America to take a bi-level approach to what crime was and how to solve for it, right? But I was not aware. I did not know that you can vote for a Mexican president while here in the United States of America, and they actually have voting places for you to do so, especially over in Seattle. We're going to get to that shortly. Let's continue.
Mexican consulates allowing voters to cast ballots.
As a young adult, it is really exciting to come vote for my own country.
In Mexico, some voters waiting hours at polling locations.
I think it's a necessary change, and it's a good sign of progress as a society.
Sheinbaum is an academic who shared a Nobel Peace Prize for her work on climate change. And it's the growing power and violence of criminal organizations that are expected to be her greatest challenge. Hundreds have been killed at campaign events, including dozens of candidates. Mexico's drug cartels and gangs are thought to be behind the attacks.
20 years ago, Mexican drug cartels were just shipping drugs to the U.S. Now they are doing businesses locally and extorting people and government, so they need to have a political base, and elections are the opportunity to increase the control.
Criminal organizations are also profiting from the smuggling of migrants to the U.S., with thousands arriving daily through Mexico's southern border. The immigration crisis, a major issue for U.S. voters this November, and Sheinbaum will become America's crucial partner to avoid another surge at the border.
And one of the things to watch moving forward is what type of relationship Sheinbaum will have with either President Biden or Donald Trump, depending on who wins the U.S. election. They will have to negotiate a lot of things together. She's also different than the past Mexican presidents because she speaks fluent English, so she could be a lot more relevant with U.S. audiences. Let's keep in mind that Mexico shares a large border with the U.S., but is also its largest trading partner. Craig?
All right, go out, Venegas.
So basically, this woman is largely famous for winning the Nobel Peace Prize, also being able to speak multiple different languages, including English, and for also studying here in the United States of America how it is that we deal with crime. Now, I don't know how that's a benefit to Mexico, because I'm not really sure if she's familiar exactly what the results are in a lot of these liberal cities where she's taking her policies from. But apparently a lot of it has been working, and I'm going to be tapping in. I'm going to be reading that Cash App shortly. Apparently a lot of it has been working, because over in Mexico City, they say that crime has dropped significantly as a result of her leadership. So here's my question as we continue to navigate through understanding exactly who this woman is and why she's so significant to the Mexican people, including whether or not she's going to tackle crime from the cartels. And in addition to that, whether or not she can implement the same policies all across every single smaller city, in addition to Mexico City, if she can tackle crime and also stem what's happening at our borders. Let's continue.
All right, we're going to go now to Mexico, where voters have just elected the country's very first female president. Claudia Sheinbaum was the handpicked candidate to succeed the current president amid tensions with the U.S., of course, over those border crossings. Enrique Acevedo is in Mexico City for us with more on the election that was heavily overshadowed by violence.
Celebrations in the street of Mexico City overnight to usher in President-elect Claudia Sheinbaum. On Sunday, thousands line up in the sweltering heat, some even camping out overnight, to vote for the 61-year-old former climate scientist.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when Obama got elected president. It reminds me of when Obama got elected president, because it reeks of the same structure and foundation, which people are so tired of suffering through what it is that they've been going through over in Mexico, especially with regard to crime, because that's largely the platform that she ran on. Even though she's regarded as a climate scientist, right, and her intelligence is heralded, and it should be heralded and celebrated, because I'm not going to take anything away from somebody just because they're a woman, but more importantly, the campaign by which she ran on is very similar to that of Obama's, which is that of hope. And so people are always looking for, in my opinion, radical change when things become so bad, regardless of whether or not you're black, white, women, men. They want change completely. It's one of the reasons why we then got Trump in 2016, because people were so sick of what they had been enduring through that they were willing to go completely left. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing or a bad thing. They were willing to go completely outside of what our norm is, because our norm had been basically inept for so long that people were looking for something different and hope. In my opinion, what they got in Trump up until 2020, which we can debate whether or not it was intentional or not, but we're not going to get into that. What they got from Trump for the first 3.5 years, basically, is prosperity, growth, less taxes, record low unemployment. Everybody was eating, doing well. Nobody was complaining, no new wars. Troops was getting sent home, all of this stuff. And so you got almost 3.5 years of prosperity and growth until obviously election year, in which we all get distracted. And then all of a sudden it became Orange Man bad, a lot of protests, George Floyd, all of this stuff, right? And so now people are realizing in a lot of senses like, hey, man, maybe we had it a little bit better than we thought that we did, considering everything that we're going through now. And going back to the establishment was obviously not necessarily the right thing to do in a lot of people's minds. But this kind of similarly gives me that same vibe as far as why it is that we elected former President Barack Obama in 2008.
It's important for you to show your daughter that she can be president, de que ella puede ser presidenta también.
And it incentivizes a future to where women are now part of the representation worldwide of what leadership is supposed to be looking like, especially in the president. Let me tell you something, bro. Before we get over into them voting for the president here inside of the United States of America, over in Mexico, it's coming. It's coming faster than you can ever imagine. I would imagine that we get a female president within the next 12 years. Max, it's going to take 12 years. Listen, this is my prediction. I believe, hopefully, I live to see the day that my prediction is right. Do I think that it's going to make sense for the United States of America? Probably not. But I'm telling you, this is happening worldwide. It's already happened in a lot of other places. But this is setting the precedent of what's going to happen inside of the United States of America. We will have a female president within the next 12 years. I'm telling you. Mark my words. I'm always right about these things. Within the next 12 years, it is happening. It is happening. The crux of what's swinging the elections in the first place has already been women, especially black women. Now, if you can get a woman of color, because it ain't going to be no white woman, you can forget it. Whoever the president of the United States is, when it becomes a woman, I do not think that it's going to be a white woman. At all. At all. First woman president of the United States is going to have to be a diversity, equity, and inclusion pick too. It's not going to be a white woman at all. Let me look at something really quickly. I just want to see something. I just want to look at something. Nope. It's not going to be a white woman at all. You can forget it. Let's continue.
But while Sheinbaum brings a new face to the presidency, will it be a new era for Mexico? The president-elect campaigned on social welfare policies that boosted broad support for her predecessor and political mentor, current President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. But one of the biggest issues remains security and violence. Mexico has seen a 150% uptick in violence, with 37 candidates assassinated during the election cycle, the murders linked to cartels who control much of the drug trade in the U.S.
For the first time, It kind of like makes sense for criminal organizations to try to control local governance. They are targeting mayors, right? And mayors are in charge of local police.
And while immigration remains a lightning rod in American politics, it's a topic most Mexican candidates avoided.
Let me go into the actual election process, because this is something that in my research I started to find out for myself. And maybe you guys wasn't familiar with it, but I didn't know that you can vote for Mexican presidents here in the United States of America.
That's right, Sebastian. Nearly 700,000 Mexican citizens living in other countries are eligible, or are registered rather, to vote. But historically, only a small percentage of them actually have. But today, for the first time ever, they could cast their ballot in person for Mexico's presidential election. And they did so right here in Seattle.
¡Viva México! ¡Viva!
So it is a big deal to be able to cast our votes so our cities will be safer.
This was one of...
But you live here in the United States of America. I don't understand how you saying, okay, this is what I'm trying to understand. Because I'm aware, finally, that this is a thing. And how are you able to legally and illegally say that that's your city, but you still here while you sending money over there? And you able to vote from here for whatever happens over there.
Just 20 consular offices in the U.S. where Mexican citizens living abroad could vote in person.
For Oregon, Washington, and Canada also. That's why there are so many people around here.
It took forever. Yeah, we were here for 6 hours.
One father and daughter duo waited in line for 10 hours in the rain. But for them, it's worth it.
Everybody just wants to have peace in here.
Her dad cast his ballot in hopes of electing a president who can end Mexico's cartel violence.
Buscando una mejor opción.
He lost 3 brothers and my mom because of that, the violence, and they got like assassinated, like of all those things. So he thinks it's very important for a good president to take over.
She, and others I heard from, hope that president,
either way, it's going to be a woman,
will bring some positive change to the country.
It won't just be like all men, that it's going to be a woman, it's going to be a change and everything.
The mentality of Western culture has literally affected and infected every single thing that happens across the world. Like, it's just a thing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, counting by numbers, identity politics, gender-based policies, it's all a real thing, man.
How does that make you feel?
Excited. I get men to do the work and stuff like that, but sometimes us women like to also do the work and not like only stay at home and do stuff like that.
Yeah, women are great leaders.
Yeah.
Do you feel...
You see how they grooming y'all and indoctrinating y'all and preparing y'all to move the way that y'all gonna be moving?
Like you would want to be the president one day?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
I heard somebody one time say, actually it was on Randy's show that actually shows on my channel. Make sure y'all check that out. A new episode basically every Tuesday. I heard somebody say that active fathers create the women that ultimately act like this within our society. Do y'all think that that's true? Active fathers ultimately create the most feminist women and the ones that are operating like this inside of our society. Do y'all think that that's true? Just a question. I'm just curious. Do y'all think that this is real? Active fathers ultimately create the environment by which these young girls come up and grow up to be the leaders within our culture and in our society. Do y'all think that that's true? Ponder on it. Maybe I'll add that as a part of the conversation. Or I'll tap Q to see if she wanted to have that as a part of the conversation later on today. Let's continue on with the show. So that's what happened over in Mexico. First elected woman leader president is in these streets. Man, let me go ahead and acknowledge this Cash App before we do anything. I want to support the people that support me. Shout out to Brandon Diamond in the building, says, for what up, though? I'm a new bag chaser. Y'all not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Brandon Diamond Select Jewelry is in the building. I appreciate you for supporting the platform and holding it down. All right, a few more super chats. Art Campbell came through and said, I got that for you, big dog. Shout out to you. Thank you, Art Campbell, for supporting the platform. Ben Flacco says, regime or remain, because the current president is her mentor. But she has departed significantly from the way that he governs versus the way that she's governed over in Mexico City. So y'all should do a little bit of research on her and y'all can learn a little bit more. Enforcer 2K9 says, you get a woman in office and it's over for all men. First thing through the door, she's passing sweeping laws against men because I feel, watch. I don't know if that's her MO, but again, the research that I did may say it a little bit differently, but who knows? But Mexico now has a woman president. Anyways, moving on with the show. Fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Tiffany Henyard, oh my God, baby girl, what are you doing? You out here in these streets. Shout out to Mr. Lott. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Thank you, my friend. Tiffany Henyard, what you got going over there in Thornton Township? Now, Thornton Township is completely separate and different from Dolton. Dolton is within the whole Thornton Township regime. All right, they have a lot of different places that they manage, but Thornton Township is where she makes the bulk of her money. Okay, so one of the things that a lot of people were complaining about was the fact that she's basically saying that anybody that replaces her in the election for Thornton Township, their salary will be reduced significantly down to, I believe, what was it, somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000, down from the $237,000 that she allegedly makes right now. So she getting to the bag, okay? She makes a significant amount of money, upwards of $200,000, plus she gets an additional $50,000 to be the mayor of Dolton. So Thornton Township, as a supervisor, that is where she's getting the bulk of her pay. Now, we always look at and we see things with regard to Dolton, and Dolton is the city that she's the mayor over, but we never have any kind of insight of what's going on over in Thornton Township. Well, guess what? They had a budget meeting over in Thornton, and the same people over in Dolton, in addition to the additional people that's in all of the other communities that Thornton Township serves, was at that meeting, and it just so happened to be fireworks. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Friday night. Welcome. Good evening. I'm Stephen Holt.
And I'm Allison Rosati. We begin with something unexpected. A rescheduled budget hearing brings lots of fireworks in South Suburban Thornton Township, where a new budget was approved just a short time ago. Now, residents had lots of questions about spending and the township supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, who's also the mayor of Dolton. Our Regina Waldrop's been on this story from the very beginning. She joins us now live with the latest. Regina.
Allison, I have covered a lot of budget meetings, and this one that just wrapped up a short time ago, anything but boring. There was clapping, shouting, screaming, and then there were police. They were on the ready to escort people out of the meeting.
Reach for yourself. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Like, you gotta go.
This budget meeting, anything but typical.
You have been led astray. You have been bamboozled. You have been hooded.
Can we get a round of applause for this small chronic break? I went and picked up my new 911 this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, I know that it's small beans to a giant. I know a lot of y'all like, Anton, why you didn't get the GT3? You didn't get the turbo. You didn't get this, whatever. I got what was available to me that they allocated to me. More importantly, it is my dream car. It is absolutely my dream car. And one of the things that I was doing when I jumped in that car, because I didn't know the audio system was as awesome as it was, and I didn't realize how zippy the car is, because you look at the stats on the car and it says that it goes up to, I think, like 189 miles an hour or something like that. I don't know, something wild. But you look at it, but you don't realize how crazy it is to drive one of those things until you actually get behind the wheel. So it is the ultimate driver's vehicle. And the first thing that I did was I put on, I'd like to welcome y'all to the Carolina West. I own this my name is Ty Dow. Y'all tearing up, but we got something old and we got something new tonight. Put your hands together for Snoop Doggy Dogg, the Dog Pound, and the Fabulous Dramatics. It's like everywhere I listen and everywhere I go, I'm hearing young trying to steal my flow, but it ain't no thing. Cause see, my Coolio put me up on the game when he stepped through the. Some of these is so deceptive. Using my styles like a contraceptive. I hope you get burnt. Still, you haven't learned. It's the knick-knack, paddywhack. I still got the biggest sack. So put your gun away, run away, because it's back. Wow. Get them up, spit them up. Now, tell me what's going on and make me want to holler because my dollar going ozone. I was listening to that the whole weekend. It's a dog world. It's your world. The dog pound rock the party all night long till into the early morning. It don't stop and it don't quit and I was rocking that all diggity dash. Yeah. I flip flop and surf with a fat till I die. I still screaming that ain't. Now I'm the Mac Daddy, Hattie. Not known about the city where I'm from. Dumb diddy dumb. As we cruise to the gangster the D-O-double-G, the P-O-U-N-D, the gangster hit. Now as the pound break it down for the gangster funk. I could see and I could tell this what the you want. So I blaze up the chronic so I can get high. I promise I'll smoke chronic till the day that I die. It's a dog, it's a dog, it's a dog. Anyways, the whole reason that I'm sharing that with you guys is because that is now my theme music for Tiffany Henyard. That is now my theme music. I had to make sure that I was censoring it out because this is the Millionaire Morning Show and it is back Monday. It is not a holiday, so we got to make sure that we take care of the daycares. We don't want them to say, oh my God, we have to turn this off on the church. That is my new theme music for Tiffany Henyard. It's a dog, it's a dog, it's a dog. It's a dog world. Just cool. Who? It's your world. What you gonna do? You've got the keys, yeah. Tiffany Henyard. Oh my gosh. Baby girl, you are the gift that keeps on giving. I will tell you, Tiffany Henyard probably paid for me a take-in. And she probably gonna pay for me to get my new 911. I ain't even gonna cap. It is absolutely one of the reasons why we running up the back. She says you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked. She said you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked. Remove her, bailiff.
You have been led astray. You have been bamboozled. You have been hoodwinked.
Thornton Township residents from several South suburban communities filled the room. And
white women there
had
too?
Lots to
it's
say.
Over.
Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to be homeless behind her raising our taxes. And you said that you have good business skills. Then you should take a look at the budget again.
You are a public servant. You serve us.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard is also the mayor of Dalton. She is the focus of a wide-ranging FBI investigation. She's also being sued by several Dalton employees, current and former. Residents say there are concerning issues with the township's spending and other areas of township government.
There are...
Oh, no. Listen. I will tell you, when you get a man that is dedicated enough to come out, and what is up with you white men? White men love to grow out their sides as far out as they can grow it, let the top continue to be a sunshine haven, and then just... Either you get some implants or you can get, you know what I'm saying? What are them things where they basically take the old hairs and they put it into the new hairs and you can just grow it out like regular? Yo, white men love to grow out their sides and their back and then comb it over and then take it into a one circle and turn it into a tornado and then set it on top of their head. We so technologically advanced, you can get anything now. Like you can literally fix your hair. You don't have to go out living like this. Yo, you can get lipo. We can get new hair. You can even grow out to be 6 feet if you decide that you don't want to be 5'7" anymore. You can get leg extensions. You can get the little cap to put on top of it. It is no reason for this man to show up outside and be looking like this. But we got to stay focused, y'all, because I like to get distracted, and that's why they don't want to give me my $30 million.
So many red flags.
People are just so tired of this whole situation with the not being transparent. And for Dalton, I can speak for Dalton, we don't know what's going on with our money at all.
Henyard makes $224,000 a year in her township supervisor job. In December, the Board of Trustees passed an ordinance that some called outlandish. It states that if Henyard runs for re-election,
getting 224 bands a year. I might go and run for Thorton Township supervisor out here in these streets.
In 2025 and loses, her successor's salary would drop to only $25,000 a year. But a bill passed in Springfield this week would undo that ordinance and make sure a move like this doesn't happen in the future. And that bill did pass in both houses, and right now all it needs is the signature of the governor. And here's what we still don't know tonight, the total amount of the spending plan that was approved. We're still trying to find that number. I'm live in South Holland tonight. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina. Let me back up. So this was some of the commentary from the people at that budget meeting for Tiffany Henyard. If I was Tiffany Henyard, I would already be getting my LinkedIn ready. I would be mining out for other jobs. I would have been doing networking. I would be trying to figure out if I can move to a completely different city. She should know. She should have already knew well over a year ago when we first started getting word of what was going on over there in Thornton Township. Tiffany Henyard should have already seen this writing on the wall. And if she was smart, if she was wise, she would be preparing herself to go and get another job, a regular job, be tamping down her spending, limiting the amount of money that she has going out, and making sure that she can be able to support herself.
Why don't you spend your money? Stop stealing ours.
God has got to help us.
You all have no right to sit in that seat.
A raucous Thornton Township budget hearing going on, and it's went off the rails in South Holland. And Battle Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard getting an earful from angry residents. Follows months of WGN Investigates reporting on Henyard's travel pay and perks.
WGN's Julian Cruz was at that meeting. He's live now in South Holland with more. Julian?
Well, Ben and Micah, that emotional public hearing finally drawing to a close just a short while ago with unfinished business. The Thornton Township Board of Trustees failing to fully pass their 2025 budget. There are 17 South suburban communities that make up the Thornton Township, and residents making it crystal clear that they're deeply dissatisfied with the Thornton Township Supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, who of course is under the cloud of a federal corruption investigation.
We need transparency. Yes. We need transparency. Yes. You have increased everything across the board. It's like you were trying to drain the money.
Frustrated South suburban residents sharing their concerns at today's Thornton Township budget hearing.
Y'all need to be in jail because this is ridiculous.
Let me remind you, you are a public servant. You serve us.
Residents demanding answers from Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who faces multiple lawsuits and a federal investigation in her dual role as Dalton mayor. Scores of residents here outraged by the allegations.
And you're trying to steal from everybody in here. Everybody. We're not going to let you keep stealing our money.
Investigators said to be focusing on everything from contracts to cronyism. Henyard and her allies have spent more than $100,000 on questionable and extravagant travel, much of it uncovered by WGN Investigates.
Now you will hear the truth as relates to the budget from myself and my administration. Now you have to listen in order to learn. Remove her. Remove her.
Henyard, in a tense moment at one point, ordering the removal of a resident for allegedly disrupting the meeting. The confrontation diffused by police with their refusal to eject based on First Amendment rights. Lost in all the conflict was time to be able to go over the proposed 2025 budget.
No date or time has been set for the Board of Trustees to reconvene.
The problem with Tiffany Henyard is that, and this is what I found with a lot of young people, especially young female leadership, is that they have not lived long enough to really understand or develop their people skills, to understand how to manage a situation. So even when Tiffany Henyard is in the right, not necessarily with regard to how it is that she's managing the city, but how she responds to people. And I tell people all the time, you can say anything to anybody if you say it the right way. And that doesn't necessarily mean that every situation calls for love and empathy. But when you lose the people, okay, let's just say this. When you lose the people and you're no longer in a position to where the people are even willing to hear what you have to say, it's time to remove yourself because you've now become tone deaf. She's literally just staying there in order to continue to collect the paycheck. I'm not even sure that she can be effective. It doesn't matter what she does. The court of public opinion have already ousted her. It's just a matter of time before she's removed from her position. And so she has to learn from this for her future endeavors, even if she only want to work in any kind of private industry or whatever like that. She got to learn from this. Everybody is not built to be a leader. They aren't. It takes a lot of skills, a lot of interpersonal skills, a lot of understanding, a lot of knowing and paying attention, discernment, knowing how to respond to people, how to control the room, how to speak to different people, how to realize and how to diffuse certain situations. It is a lot. It's a lot. And a lot of people don't have that skill set. They're not informed. They don't understand. And it's very difficult to be able to teach that. That's something that has to be experienced, which is one of the reasons why they have a minimum age on certain legislative branches or certain places like the President of the United States before you can even become president, because it's important for you to develop a lot of those interpersonal skills. It's not just based off of your intelligence. It's based off of your ability to be able to manage. And management is a skill. Communication is a skill. It's an art form that most people have not mastered. They don't understand it. They don't even know how to read the room and control an audience. So, yeah, once she lost the people, it was over for her. There was nothing else that she could do. And I wish her the best of luck, but I don't think that anything is going to come of it. I'll be interested to find out exactly where she gets another position from. But we'll see. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lot. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down with the 50 ball. Says, I just want to salute to the Chasers. Hey, if y'all not a part of the Bag Chasers, if y'all not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. It is an incredible opportunity. The beginning of the month is the best time of the month for y'all to be able to tap into the Patreon and the Chasers and be able to run it up and get to that bag, man. We got Stock Club coming up this week. I got a post that I'm putting up today based off of the meetup. We got upcoming videos. It's dope. Make sure y'all tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lot. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Kiona says, a time traveler said in 2036, MLK Jr.'s granddaughter will be president of the United States. I would love to see who this time traveler is. Devastator says, speaking of dream cars, mine is a Lexus LC500. That's a phenomenal car, bro. That is a phenomenal car. Sharik 43 says, not only men are going to be screwed, but the whole darn nation going to be screwed if all these keep becoming leaders. Just look at the ones in power now. And we're not learning from our mistakes. We're going to continue to suffer. Dizzy O says, not a single liberal is covering Hunter Biden's gun case that's being heard today, which he pled guilty to, but they know they know everything about Trump. Oh, we're going to revisit that this week. Don't worry about it. I'm going to cover it. I'm definitely going to cover it. Dietrich619 says, hey, AD, do you invest in life insurance policy as an investment engine? And if so, what age did you start? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do not invest in life insurance as an investment. I have life insurance policies, but my life insurance policies are just that. In case anything happens to me, then my family have the ability to continue to get, be paid out as a result of it in order to make sure that they're taken care of. I do not look at life insurance as an investment vehicle. I don't. I think that it is a bad way to get yourself into a situation. Most people think that that's an investment vehicle. A lot of ways they use that in order to continue to sell to people. I don't support it. I use traditional, well-proven ways in order to build wealth. You make as much money as you can. You put it into assets. We have conversations on what type of assets you need to be invested in, and in ways in which you can make more money, limiting your lifestyle, and then making sure that you align your lifestyle according to what your assets is paying out for you. So no, I use traditional methods, stock, real estate, all of that stuff. I don't get into any of the finessing. I don't get into the life insurance policy as an investment tool. That is a quick way for people to find themselves under duress, and they don't tell you about the downsides of it. Nope, I absolutely don't. No way, no how. Nope, life insurance to me is a way to make sure that your family is able to bury you and for your loved ones to be taken care of if anything ever happens to you. So no, I do not. A.R. Smitty says the demise of City Girl Mayor in America. Shout out to my dog, A.R. Smitty. Messi says, when I was little, I got caught singing all my BS, and then that's wave your hands in the air. Wave your mother upper hands in the air. Word for word, and my name tag me right then and there. Shout out to my girl, Messi. Yeah. To all of my B's and all my N's. No, Messi, we can't do that. We can't do that, baby girl. We got to make sure that we take care of business. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications if you have not already. And make sure you send this to your family and friends. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's continue. Let's continue. Don't y'all want y'all family to get the life insurance policy in order to make sure? Anyways, I ain't going to get into that. Anyways, let's continue over into the show. What do we got next? Quick 10-minute segment where I'm breaking down violent crime happening across America. I was not going to leave that out today. I got to keep y'all informed on what's going on out in these streets. Check it out, y'all.
A breaking news update here at 6:30. A concealed carry license holder was attacked last night, responding by shooting 3 men from his north side front yard. CBS 2's Asal Rezai reports it all started with a fight.
We're told by neighbors here the victim lives next door to the men who allegedly attacked him. Neighbors also telling me the altercation took place while a party was happening here.
Fired 10 rounds.
Video from the scene shows multiple people on stretchers being taken away by paramedics. A large response by Chicago police in the 4700 block of Wrightwood Avenue after gunshots rang out just before 11:30 Friday night.
This guy's going to extend 2 houses in 2 yards.
Police say a 43-year-old man was in front of his house when he got into a verbal altercation with 3 men police say he is familiar with. Police say he shot all 3 men. A 29-year-old man had 5 gunshot wounds to the upper body. A 22-year-old man was shot in the chest. A third man, 55 years old, was shot in the neck. We're told the 43-year-old man who opened fire is the victim in all of this. He had blunt force trauma to his head and body. All 4 men were taken to hospitals in critical condition.
I believe they tried to go into my cousin's house.
Police say the victim is a concealed carry license holder and a gun was recovered from the scene.
He's a hardworking man. He doesn't deserve this, but the people that live next door to them there's been a problem with that house lately.
Chicago police are still investigating the shooting. So far, no word on any possible charges.
That ain't Mugo, number one. All right, so I'm not a fan of what I'm seeing on my screen right now as far as my reporters. The reporters have been more than lackluster today on the Millionaire Morning Show. Let me go ahead and hit a pound for that one. That's number one. Number two, it sounds like a case of mess around and find out. So not getting along with your neighbors. They talking tough. And let me also say this. Concealed carry is for when you out in the streets. You are more than able to protect your home. All right, I don't know how y'all do it in other parts of America, but over here in Michigano, all right, you should be able to protect your home, and you are more than able. If somebody walk up on your spot and they trying to assault you and they put their hands on you and they coming into your crib, you are more than welcome to give them that mess around and find out. Ta-da! Sounds like a case of it. All 3 of them. They was playing tough. Yo, I'm gonna run. And let me say this too. I know a lot of y'all are up on this. Yo, we can scrap it out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Ain't nobody fighting no more. We got the equalizer. You know what the great equalizer is? That ooh-op shebang. Yeah. Sounds like a case of mess around and find out. He not waiting for the Chicago police to do an investigation on what happened to him. He said, no, we're going to go ahead and make sure all of y'all catch this L. Shout out to him, the CCL holder that was out there doing the Lord's work. Also, over in Akron, Ohio, I heard that it was a deadly shooting that left over 20 people injured. Check it out.
This video captured by a residential camera shows the chaos. But when you listen, you can hear gunshots and screaming, a nightmare for the city of Akron, as one man was killed and 24 others more were injured, with 2 in critical condition. Akron's police chief, Brian Harding.
The victims range in age from 19 to 43, with most of the victims in their 30s.
The police chief says about 100 people were attending a yearly birthday party on Kelly Avenue. Shots were fired from a moving car, says Harding.
Akron City and Akron General are both on diversion to all for a lockdown for a large shooting in.
Yep, looks like a familiar setting. I could see all of the donks. I see a Buick Regal out there. That is not a Grand National. That is a Buick Regal. Obviously, it looks like the usual suspects. We can see the Jordan jerseys with the 23 on it. And late night out past the devil's time. Anytime past the street lights coming on. The same rules that applied for when y'all was little children apply today as grown folks. When the street lights cut on, ain't nothing good that's happening out in these streets unless you are in a safe environment and you busting it open. And so if y'all not out in a safe environment with people that y'all trust, or if y'all out here with sketchy characters, usually you find yourself in a situation that's not going to be good for you. I don't know how many times I got to keep warning y'all. We grew up in an environment where we was used to seeing this type of stuff happen all the time. It was always a shooting, or always something happening, or always somebody getting into it, and then always an innocent bystander that gets shot as a result of it. And you can't keep this many of our people in the same area without something going down. Come on, man.
The city of Akron.
With several partygoers firing back. Handguns were found on the scene and
assault rifle. We did recover those rounds.
The rounds hitting partygoers at random, and the city sending the injured where they could.
Large incident in Akron. City General are both on diversion to everything, and West Reserve is on lockdown.
On Sunday night, police are now looking for the shooter or shooters who got away and are asking the public for help.
This was a tragic incident which impacts our entire community.
But the city, its people, have a trust issue with police, an issue.
So you got to, Jesus Christ. Best thing LeBron could have did was get up out of Akron. The worst thing LeBron could have did was build a house in Akron. Let me say that again. The best thing that LeBron could have did was get up out of Akron. The worst thing LeBron could have did was build a home in Akron. I'm not even sure LeBron ever even goes back to Akron. Ever. Not that we would ever know, or he would tell us that he was over in Akron. But I remember LeBron built that huge mega mansion over in Akron, Ohio. How you gonna have a trust issue with the police, but you got these monsters running around rampant that literally have hit and killed people in mass shootings that we don't want to classify as mass shootings, because in any other community, this would be classified as a mass shooting. But because it's so common and we're so used to operating with this PTSD trauma that happens within our community, somebody told me on After Hours, they said, Anton, this is what made us. Man, if you don't get on out of here with that, I didn't want to grow up with that. It's the reason why we don't let our children, if it made us so great, then how come it's not the thing that we want our children to go through? Sad, bro.
Mayor Shamus Malik is well aware of.
We recognize the gaps in trust that are there. We're not trying to shy away from them or hide away from them, but we all as a community need to address the gun violence going on in our community.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
But it's not just what was happening over in Chicago and Akron. A 14-year-old boy was shot in the chest. Shot fatally. And guess where he was shot at?
A 14-year-old boy is found dead inside his family's apartment with an apparent bullet wound to his chest. Fox 5's
Shout out
Kendall
to
Green
Jamal
is
Fowler.
in
I'm gonna read
Brownsville,
that super
Brooklyn,
chat
with the
shortly.
details.
Like any other day, the kids are on the basketball court playing outside of the Howard houses. Though Sunday,
That
they're
ain't nothing
playing
but the
through grief that
projects.
came unexpectedly. Their pickup game is missing one player now, a shy, friendly kid who never made it to the court Sunday afternoon.
My neighbors know the kids play together.
The 14-year-old was at home when just
That is the projects. If I ain't never seen a projects before in my life, over in Brooklyn. Don't worry about it, Bronx. It ain't y'all turn today. It's Brooklyn's turn.
before 10:30 in the morning, he was shot in the chest inside of his apartment.
I heard it. I did hear it.
The child was taken to Brookdale Hospital where doctors couldn't save him. The gunfire came from the 5th floor of this NYCHA apartment building where NYPD now stand guard.
That is the prototypical projects. That ain't, I mean, you know what the projects are? A death trap. You see that caution symbol? That usually they will put that in a nuclear reactor zone. That's right there above the top of the right there with them bricks, with the middle school bricks, them same bricks that was in our middle schools when we was growing up. That ain't nothing but the projects. Piss in the hallways, basketball courts with double rims and no nets, unless you got somebody to come up there and be some kind of community advocate. Trash, roaches, rats, garbage. Absolute trash, bro.
Just outside of the door where it happened, neighbors tell Fox 5 it woke them up out of their sleep. And because of the time of day, at first they thought nothing of it.
I just heard a loud
They don't
sound.
even trip.
I didn't think nothing of it at first. And then
Look at it. Look. Y'all got to pay attention to the context clues. First of all, look how close the doors are to each other. All right. Secondly, look at the color of the doors. Third, she has a paper cardboard cutout. It looks like something that you ship with the toilet paper on it or something like that. And she taped it to her door and it says, please something or whatever. And it got the barcode on the bottom of it. If you scan the barcode or you take a picture of the barcode, you can literally put up what type of product that they got that off of. They have that on the door. This is not conducive for a child to grow up in.
a little while later, I heard walkie-talkies and stuff, which I thought was the housing. And then after that, I see the police and everybody came.
One of the teen's mom, who didn't want to go on camera with tears, shared how shattered she was to hear the news that her son's friend won't be coming by anymore. As her neighbor, to a certain degree, feels it too.
I don't really know them well, but they're nice people. Okay. Oh my God.
Everybody is nice people.
I have a daughter that's around the same age. I couldn't imagine being a parent and losing a child that age.
Now, so far at last check, police say no one has been arrested or charged in connection with the shooting. And
shout out to Hassan Campbell. I heard he was over there in that area sometime when he had got shot, but don't worry about it. And then last but not least, listen, we got to go all across the board. We went to Chicago. Then we went over to Akron, Ohio. We went over to the Midwest slightly. We went over to the East Coast. Now we got to go to the West Coast. Shout out to Oakland. They starting to close down all of the 7-Eleven stores over in Oakland because of this.
An ongoing and alarming trend. Thieves smash a car into a 7-Eleven store in Oakland to steal merchandise. Latest burglary happened yesterday morning at the store on Piedmont Avenue.
This type of crime is happening so often that 7-Eleven has shut down 2 Oakland stores recently.
Let me read this super chat before I finish off this. Zaya Jones says, stop judging people who live in the projects. It's always somebody that don't even have a profile picture, but we'll get there. Sometimes your judgment is too much, Anton. You know what you can do for me? Suck my backwards. Real talk. Let me tell you something. I know that you may be new here, but I truly don't give a F about your feelings or whether or not you feel judged. Why don't you go and talk to the killers inside of your neighborhood? Go talk to your mayor. I bet you don't even know who your city council members are. I bet you ain't never even voted before. I don't care about you feeling judged. Your neighborhoods is trash. Your environments is garbage. Your culture is trash. The music that you listen to and your kids ain't safe. The last thing that you should be worried about is whether or not I care about what you feel or whether or not I can substantiate your trauma and your PTSD. Your children ain't safe going outside and going to school. You got rats and roaches all up and down your hallways. You got a crackhead that's going to be laying at the bottom of your stairs and you don't know if he woke or not. They got a glass eye. And you got crack dealers that's continuing to pour fentanyl inside of your communities. The last thing that you should be worried about is whether or not me giving my opinion on how trash the environment is that you live in and whether or not I can substantiate your trauma. I'm not here to make you feel good. I don't care. I don't care. The only thing I'm going to do is tell the 100% God's honest truth. Your culture, your environment, and the projects that you have to live in because you want to live in substandard housing because you can't afford to live like a regular human being inside of the United States of America is trash. Blame your mama and your daddy. Don't blame me. That's the environment that you grew up in. That ain't got nothing to do with me at all. I'm not here to make you hold your daddy accountable. Don't get mad at me. Listen, I'm never the one to ever be jumping into the diversity, equity, and inclusion, trauma bonding conversation. I genuinely, to my core, don't care about your feelings. The only thing I care about is getting people to the finish line and getting the results. Get out of your feelings, Miss Project Baby.
The two shuttered locations are on MacArthur Boulevard and 23rd Avenue. A source familiar with the situation tells reporter Dahlin they closed a month ago due to repeated burglaries and robberies.
A source tells me 7-Eleven closed down the two stores on April 30th. They removed the logos and boarded up the storefronts. Now they're covered in graffiti and some broken glass. Now the remaining stores in Oakland, I'm told they're dealing with a lot of crime. The latest 7-Eleven burglary in Oakland happened Saturday morning before 5 a.m. They were closed at the time. Burglars backed a stolen car to break down the glass doors. Manager Gautam Kumar says
they stole the sweetest car that they could find, too. I think that was a Lexus.
Third burglary at the store in 5 months.
It's really tough to run the business now these days. You know, most of the insurance company, they are running out.
Gautam says the burglars are targeting cigarettes. He says the burglars on Saturday took about $10,000 in cigarettes, and it cost them a few $1,000s to repair the doors.
Like almost $15 a pack. So they're targeting cigarettes.
Investigators say there's a big demand for cigarettes on the black market. The Piedmont Avenue 7-Eleven is not alone. I reported on previous robberies of other Oakland 7-Eleven stores. Gunmen held up employees and security guards to rob cartons of cigarettes. Late last year, a robber shot and killed a security guard inside the Harrison Street 7-Eleven.
I hope these businesses stay, but we're starting to see businesses decide, well, it's just not worth it. We're going to go to another city.
And that's what apparently happened to two stores in Oakland. A source close to the company tells me 7-Eleven closed down two core.
Look at that. Now, y'all, listen, I told y'all, it was the same thing during the protests. Y'all destroy your own businesses. Y'all, and you know what's going to happen? It's always going to be a Umar Johnson type or some black Hebrew Israelite or somebody in the community saying, they don't care about us. They don't want to invest in our communities. No. You destroyed your own communities. When there was business owners and when there was people there that wanted to invest in it and they own businesses and they put their hard-earned money up, y'all don't even want to let the cardboard live there. Y'all spray painting and throwing graffiti on the cardboard and on the red box. Red box is all graffitied up. Cameras don't dismay you. Y'all tear up y'all own communities, and we supposed to feel sorry for y'all? No, I think that they should put a gate around y'all. I absolutely think that they should put a gate around certain communities and not even let people out past midnight. Absolutely not. Make sure that you close it off like O-Block and don't let nobody come in or go out past a certain time. And y'all selling cigarettes? Man, I told Rita the other day, I said, listen, one of my biggest things is that if you are a smoker, like if there is a woman, cigarettes is so played out. I think that is one of the most played out things that you can do today is to rock cigarettes. I told her, I said the other day, I said, man, if I see a woman that turns cigarettes, immediately turn off. That is one of the biggest things that red flags. That's a red flag. I don't even want to get to know you. If you smoke cigarettes, you don't even come over my place. You got your clothes is reeking. Anyways, I just want to keep you all up to date on what's going on across America as far as crime. Let me read a few of these super chats and we're going to continue over with the show. Tariq Kuntz says, shout out from Akron, moving out at the end of the month as an Ohio transplant from the BX. I gotta go. What did you move to Akron for in the first place? Must have been for a job. Shout out to Jamal Fowler in the building. Says, peace, Anton. I just became a chaser. Let's get it. I met a lot of people over the weekend that kicked it with me and said that they became chasers. Shout out to y'all. P. Roth Team 216 says, LeBron does not live in Akron. He lives in the suburb. About 10 minutes before you actually get to Akron, it's actually Bath Township, low crime area. Yeah, but it's close to it. Y'all call it the Metro Akron area. Outsider says, good work, Anton. This is better than the regular news. Oh, ain't it? Ain't it? Shoot. Show enough in the building says, brother Anton, Puerto Ricans go through the same thing as black. Also, did you check out the Donald Trump Jr. interview with Tucker Carlson? I didn't. Not yet. I was too busy researching the new Mexican president, to understand exactly what her policies are and if she was going to be good for the people. Let's continue. So last but not least, because we got something else that we need to go over right before this, a migrant shoots 2 New York City police officers. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's spend 10 minutes on this, y'all.
Breaking news overnight, 2 NYPD officers shot in East Elmhurst, Queens.
The shooting happened early this morning, actually around 1:30, sending both of the officers to the hospital. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She is live outside the Elmhurst Hospital with the latest, including Briella. The mayor just held a press conference. What did we learn from that?
Yeah, he did. Tashani and Dan, good morning to both of you. We have a lot of new details to share with you at this hour. So the mayor and Edward Caban, the police commissioner, actually were visiting those 2 injured officers at their bedsides here at Elmhurst Hospital before coming downstairs to address the media. In emotional remarks, Mayor Adams held up one of the cops' bulletproof vests. He showed it to everybody there in the audience and said, this is the reason that officer is going home to his family. Again, one officer shot in the leg, the other in the torso in that bulletproof vest. Both of those officers are expected to recover. Let's backtrack for a moment to the scene of what happened here.
Look at this foolishness. Could you imagine our police officers, our good American police officers that serve our community, that woke up this morning and said, you know what, I'm going to make a better decision or a good decision to help somebody make a better decision in our community. And they go out there and they're patrolling the streets, and one of the things that they see is a migrant. And a migrant is committing some sort of crime, and they've been chasing this migrant for a long time. And so they go to get the migrant, and somehow the migrant was able to go and get a gun off the street somewhere, and he shot and he injures 2 police officers, and he's still taken alive. Let me say something real quick. Let me just give y'all a reality check, because in this new diversity, equity, and inclusion and PC culture is different. I have never in my life, when I was growing up until the time that I was about 30 years old, because it changed about 12 years ago, I have never in my life seen people shoot at the police, not even be from the United States of the Americas, and live to tell about it. I have never in my life, I don't know what country I'm living in right now, but in the United States of America, I've never in my life, not one time, have ever known, well, at least in Detroit, have ever known somebody, anybody, let alone an illegal migrant that's not even supposed to be here, shoot at the police, hit 2 of them, and live to tell the story. Be carried out with 3 of them walking behind you, cuffing you. That is incredible. I don't know what country we live. I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I believe that I'm living in a twilight zone. There's no way in the world that this guy lived to tell this story. That is death by suicide when you shoot at the police officers back in my day. When we was coming up, that was death by suicide. If you wanted to go and get yourself killed, y'all act like you had a gun, act like you was pulling out on them and move too fast. These dudes is actually shooting at the police in high-speed chases, and they not dying. They not even hit. This is insane, bro.
Learning more about the suspect, police say he is a 19-year-old Venezuelan migrant. The shooting happening at about 1:40 this morning near the intersection of 89th Street and 23rd Avenue. Those two uniformed officers were working to address a robbery pattern in the area involving mopeds and scooters. That's when they were met by that 19-year-old suspect. Police Commissioner Edward Caban explaining what happened next.
They observed a male suspect drive a moped the wrong way on 82nd Street near 23rd Avenue and attempted to pull him over. The suspect then fled on foot, and the officers began a foot pursuit, which led for several blocks. During the pursuit, the suspect fired multiple rounds at our officers, who then returned fire.
Name killing?
Yeah, you heard the commissioner there saying that the officers returned fire. The suspect
was
struck in the ankle.
He
was taken to New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital to be treated for his injury.
Them Generation X and them boomer officers, they had in Detroit what we call gang squad. Y'all not familiar with gang squad, but over here in Detroit back in the day, they had what they call gang squad. And gang squad, the last thing you prayed for a regular uniformed officer to pull you over or to run up on you, because the last thing that you wanted to do was deal with what we call gang squad. And they was busting heads, taking names. They had no rules, no restrictions. They was the judge, jury, and executioner. But apparently we got some new Gen Z millennial cops that's doing it a little bit differently.
He is also in stable condition, and a gun was recovered at the scene. The suspect, we're told, entered the country in 2023. He has no prior arrests here in New York City, but he is wanted for several robberies involving mopeds and scooters. Again, that is what those two cops were investigating at the time this all happened. The officers and their families, we're told, are in very good spirits. This could have ended a lot worse, thankfully.
Gang squad was self-funded. Gang squad in Detroit, they was bringing in more in revenue than they was taking off the streets. Listen, let me tell you something, bro. They was knocking heads. Dope boys already understood that if they found something in your car, just be like, man, I don't know what's going on. Is that somebody else's? They be like, hey, is that yours? What mine? Yeah, all right. Take that. They take that. They put it in their car. They hit you in the head, beat you in the head a couple times, and then they let you go. And you just knew. It was just like the Jack boys coming to get you. Hey, man, they let me live, so I'm good. They ain't take me to jail. They was funding themselves. They was rich. They was getting money. They was stashing cash, and they was knocking heads over and breaking legs at the same time. Man, I'm telling you, bro, Gang Squad was this whole entity. And now they got the diversity, equity, and inclusion police out here making it shake. But a lot of these hotel employees are saying that migrants came through when they was, charging maximum rate for them. Migrants came through and apparently they destroyed the hotels over in NYC and other places that they decided to use as shelter. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Okay, I'm going to move on from this because it's a very important day, and that was a very important moment, I think. Staying on the issue of voters, the border, and migrants, there are about 680 hotels in New York City. 135 of them are reportedly operating as migrant shelters. One of those hotels is the Row Hotel.
135 hotels over in NYC is operating as migrant shelters? Man, it's a lot of money out there.
Hotels in New York City. 135 of them are reportedly operating as migrant shelters. One of those hotels is the Row Hotel, where Carlos Arellano used to work. Carlos joins me now. You tell me, how do hotels make...
Oh, no, Carlos. Neck bigger than your head, man, boy. Carlos said, Carlos, come on, Los. Los couldn't even find a good white wall to sit behind. He gonna go to the mall and put his neck into the screen. All right, Los, listen, I got you. When Los shave, I ain't even gonna do it. Come on, Los. At least he got it all the way buttoned up to the top of his neck. Los, tell us about what the migrants did at the hotel that you worked at, big dog.
Money from these migrants. Tell me.
Well, they charge the city, the taxpayer, they charge them double. You know, people think you're just paying for the room, but you're paying for the staff members. You walk into one of these hotels, and depending on how far you get, you can see a table of 10 staff members. But out of those 10 staff members, only 2 of them are really working.
Oh, Los is a disgruntled worker. Let me tell you something. Los is a disgruntled worker, and Los is telling on everybody. He said, look, everybody getting paid. Everybody is using y'all money. Ain't nobody actually doing what they supposed to do. And all of these migrants and these migrant workers, it's a finesse. It's an absolute finesse. They got 10 workers. They skimming off the top. Only 2 of them is actually working. And they all in the lunchroom, in the break room, and they don't care what's going on inside of these hotels.
And the other 8 that are there, they're just hanging around, not doing the thing. And when I used to work there, I used to say, why do I need 10 people when I have 2 people only working? I need to get rid of some of these people. And the excuse was always the contract requires this many people. And it requires that many people, 10 of them, because they want to charge the city more from the taxpayer funds. So
Los is telling, and I believe him. I don't believe that any man with a neck like that would lie to you. No man with a neck like that, whose neck is the equivalent of the circumference of the head, would ever tell you a lie. And he's not even looking into the camera, so I know he's telling you. He's just focused on recalling every single piece of his memory in order to give you the whole truth, nothing but the truth. He's telling you 100%. He's not even looking in the camera. He said, listen, it's 2 workers that's actually doing anything, but it's 10 on staff. And one of the reasons is so that it can make as much money from its taxpayers, because the contract requires at least 10 people on call. So they making as much money from the city and the taxpayers as much as possible. And I used to ask, and they didn't tell me anything. That is the truth. That's the truth. That is nothing but the truth. Shout out to Los exploding and telling us exactly what's happening out in these streets. He got his backpack on. He got his helmet inside of that backpack. And he going to tell us the truth.
They upcharge anything they can. You know, if they say, oh, we're going to offer them homeschool teachers for the migrants who don't want to go send their kids to public school, the hotel's going to charge it to the city twice as.
Did y'all know this? Los is the whistleblower for the city. Los said illegal migrants can get homeschooling if they don't feel like sending their children into the schools. Oh my God. Are y'all not absolutely 100% appalled at this? How can y'all still allow for this to continue to go on, not paying attention, not going to the polls, not holding your legislative leaders accountable of what's going on out in these streets, considering that we listening to Los and he's telling y'all, he's finessing y'all. They finessing y'all. They are absolutely taking advantage of y'all. They overcharging, they double charging, they allowing for the migrants to have homeschooling because they don't feel like sending their kids to y'all regular public schools, that they got more people overstaffed, that they taking over the whole city. They using all of the money to continue to finesse y'all. How are y'all not pissed off? Especially as people that are sanctuary city. How are y'all not pissed off? How are y'all not mad? How are y'all not trying to hold somebody accountable? Jesus.
As much. So they find any little excuse to charge more money inside.
What's the condition of these hotels now from the inside? How are they being, I hate to say trashed, but are they in good condition or not?
Oh, no, they're ruined. They're never going to be what they once were. And that's why they keep renewing the contracts, because they don't want anyone to go in there and see what damage they've done to this place long term. Every every other week there was power outages at the row on the floor 23. So I used to go to work.
You know that man telling the truth. He's giving you the exact floor. Hey, listen, on floor 23, there was power outages.
They would say you have 5 floors without electricity. Go figure it out. And we would be without electricity because it would be 5 floors of illegal migrants wanting to plug in air fryers into their rooms. So can you just do the math? 5 floors worth of people. There's 5,000 people in this hotel spread across 28 floors. You have 5 floors trying to plug in air fryers. It's going to short circuit the electrical wires.
And there's 135 hotels in New York City which house migrants. There are 600.
Hey, y'all, protect Los. Don't know if I see somebody that wind up coming across the news and they say Los has been hurt, I know that it's protect Los at all costs, yo.
The hotels altogether, 135 of them are just for migrants. That's not going to change, is it?
Oh, no, because the last thing I've been hearing when I've been out talking to migrants at the border is they tell each other, they coordinate, they tell each other, make sure your hearing, your asylum hearing is in New York, because in New York, there's judges who lean a certain way that will give you more time. If you put your court hearing in Texas, you're going to screw yourself over. So they tell each other, leave your court hearing in New York, claim your free hotel once you get there, and then come back to Texas. Because if you do it in Texas, it's not going to go well for you. So they coordinate with each other, telling each other, go to New York, go to Chicago, go to Denver. So this is not going to stop anytime.
Y'all thought that they was dumb. Y'all thought that these was idiots. Thank you, DeJuan Richardson. Listen. You're not going to get people that talk about the truth. The only thing that you're going to get out here in these streets is people that continue to give y'all fluff, and they're not actually telling you what's really happening out in these streets. Los is out here telling the truth. He said they working together, they coordinating. They said go to Denver, Chicago, and New York first. And then once you run out of all of the stuff that you can get out of those places and you drain them dry and you drain the taxpayers dry, then you can go back over to Texas and hang out and go and get you a job laying shingles on the roof. Somebody protect Los at all costs. Somebody protect Los at all costs. Thank you, Los, for telling us the truth out here in these streets. Let me read a few of these super chats and let's continue. This is crazy. This country is out of control. Xavier Johnson says they probably smuggling those cigarettes to prison. Maybe they got drones that you can do drone drops. Chadford Moore says they shouldn't have taken in those migrants the way that they did. Have so many things for us to work on here for our own people. If you shoot at a cop, you become a ghost out here in these streets. Charles Blanco says, my wife wants to know why I sent you super chat money and I didn't send her any. Hey, forget what she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let me tell you why. All right, let me make a pitch to you, Mrs. Melco Blanco. Let me make a pitch to you, baby. Listen, my goal, Mrs. Melco Blanco, and one of the reasons why you send me super chat money is because, A, we are completely self-funded, and we try to make sure that we give you the honest-to-God truth on not only what's going on with the news, but also how we can affect you in a positive way. Now, what does that mean for you, Mrs. Melco Blanco? Charles has been becoming more and more successful every single day that he's aligned with us, meaning that small little super chat money that he's sending me, it comes back to him more than quadruple anything. This is a small investment in order for him to become better as a husband, as a person, and then ultimately as a bag chaser, which you then become the beneficiary of. So he supports us so that I can support you. You know what I'm saying, Melka? Melka, let me tell you something, baby. Listen. No way in the world. My people, they got on me for not even accepting super chat money. I had shut the platform down one time and they said, Anton, no. Accept the blessings that you get for continuing to pour into us. My goal every day is to make your life better than it ever has before. This is better than what you were paying for cable. This is better than the traditional news shows. This is something so that I can keep him in a positive mindset and then ultimately put the candy inside of the medicine inside of the candy in order for you guys to benefit and for you to profit as a result of it. My goal is to make sure that I add value into your lives. Don't get on him for that. You know, it's a lot of other things that he can contribute money into that you can hold him accountable for. If he was out here throwing it in the strip club, I could see that. I could see that. If he was out here tricking it off on some hoes, he's supporting somebody that supports you. And my goal is to make him great so that ultimately you become the beneficiary of it. So you the one that get blessed as a result of him contributing into the platform. You know what I'm saying? Roll with me, Mel. Roll with me, Mel. We got you. We got you. Charles, did I do a good job? Did I do a good job, Charles? Hopefully I helped you out and I did a good job, Charles. George Gibson says, for Los, he crashing out and taking everybody with him. Shout out to my dog, George Gibson. I appreciate you. And Jovan says, just join the Bag Chasers. If y'all have not joined the Chasers, the best time to join is the beginning of the month. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Mel, I got your back, baby girl. Shout out, hold your husband down. Hold your husband down. He absolutely is doing the best thing for the family. For the family. And I appreciate y'all. I really do. Absolutely. Every single time that somebody says something or sends something, it don't even matter if it's $1. I'm very appreciative. I'm not one of those stuck-up content creators that think that people don't matter. I love you guys. I genuinely love you in real life. All right? So listen, why don't y'all tap into the Patreon? Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But before we get out of here, I want to share with y'all one more thing. You know I like to react to content creators to see what's happening in these streets. And this is a woman that makes upwards of over $300,000 a year. Oh, thank you guys. You guys are the greatest ever. You say she loves Anton? Shout out to y'all. This is a woman that makes over $300,000 a year, so I'm not going to be before y'all long. We're going to do this in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes, all right? Woman makes over $300,000 a year, and she said that she's broke. Broke. Can you imagine, for all of y'all, and I challenge y'all to make $250,000 a year, could you imagine making 300 bands and still being broke? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. Let's get it.
Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And today I figured I want to do a walkthrough of my pay slip, so basically my paycheck.
Thank you guys for sending me this. Let me acknowledge the content creator before we continue on. Her name is Hooja. Hooja, 317 subscribers. Make sure y'all go and tap in. If y'all like her content, tell her that Anton from Anton Daniels sent you. Her name is Hooja. Hooja, all right? And it looks like she's a software engineer / developer. So let's get into it.
How much money do I really get in each of my paycheck? And what is it before tax and after tax? And what are the deductions and the itemized things that need to be taken out of that paycheck every single time? And how much of it is left to send to me? And because I receive a lot of questions in my comments about like, oh, what happened to your budget? Like, how is it that you're making $300K a year and you're still suffering, struggling in the US? Like, what's wrong with you?
So I'm looking at the context clues and I'm looking at the room. And the room is very, very, very Spartan and very basic. You got wood paneling on the walls. Looks like the bed is a little bit scratched up, right? So got some cat claws on the headboard. Everything is very, very basic. It almost looks like she's living in a hotel room, and she makes over $300,000 a year.
So I figured I want to do an episode on my paycheck breakdowns of this topic, so that I'm hoping to answer most of your questions on that front. In my next episode, I will do a budgeting overview, basically my expense overview, like how much money I'm spending on every single one of the item. Like,
somebody said, I'm trying to sign up to the Patreon, but everything is sold out. Do you know when you have more openings? Everything is not sold out in the Patreon. That is cap. That is cap. There is one section left that is open for people to be able to sign up to the Bag Chasers, all right? There is more sections that are open for people to be able to sign up to the Bag Chasers. I know that it's not sold out because I'm looking at it right now. I know that it's not sold out. See that the table is sold out, early adopters is sold out, but the highlighted tier, which is exclusive access, is available now. Sign up to the Bag Chasers, link is in the description. It's not sold out. Go to the exclusive access. It's dope.
They, daycare, preschool, rents, things like that, cars, things like that in my next video. Because I don't have limited time today. So before further ado, let's dive right into this. So I'm not going to share my screen on my actual paycheck because that's a lot of sensitive information. So I'm just going to read out loud a lot of the numbers while I look at it, but you will just be seeing my face. I'm not going to screen share my paycheck. Hope you can understand. Okay, so I'm looking at my most recent paycheck from pay period April 21st to May 4th.
Reading super chat shortly.
And
April 21st through May 4th. So she get paid every 2 weeks. April 21st through May 4th is the paycheck that she's reading. So she gets paid every 2 weeks, all right? So let's just basically assume that this is a half month / a little bit less than a half month's paycheck, because then at some point she'll be getting 3 paychecks in 1 month. All right, so let's go by what she's saying.
My gross pay is $7,692.31.
$7,700 is her gross pay weekly. $7,700, which is the equivalent of over $15,000 a month. So her base gross pay every 2 weeks is the equivalent of over $15,000 a month is what she's telling us. Her base pay, that's before taxes, deductions, FICA, 401k, is over $15,000, which let's just extrapolate that out and say that her base pay is $180,000 a year plus bonuses plus whatever, right? She's saying that that's her base pay. And then she get everything else on top of that. So she makes the equivalent of about $300,000 a year.
And there's a pre-tax deductions of $982.98.
Pre-tax deduction of $982. Okay, so pre-tax deductions, I'm assuming is like 401k. All right. Pre-tax deductions is stuff that come out of your paycheck before they start taxing you. So, for example, if you have a 401k and you contribute in a certain amount, 6% or whatever, and you're trying to get the company match, what happens is they take that money out of your paycheck before taxes and they only tax you on whatever the difference is.
And there's employee taxes of $1,726.
So of $7,700, $1,700 is employee taxes. I'm assuming that may be state or federal. I'm assuming that that's federal. $1,700 every 2 weeks coming out. So you got $6,000, $5,000 left after that.
$32. And there's post-tax deductions of $369.
So post-tax deductions is things that she has coming out of her paycheck. That's after the taxes that's taken out.
I think that's for my pet insurance. And
Jesus Christ, I didn't know it was for pet insurance. So you telling me that she paying over $300 and something every 2 weeks, probably close to $700 or over $700 every 2 weeks for pet insurance? Harpo, get this pet up out of my face. Harpo, get this pet up out of my face. I wish she actually did a numbers breakdown up on the screen, but we just going to take it for what it is. Again, $1,700 coming out for employee taxes. Looks like close to $1,000 coming out of pre-tax. That's probably 401k. And then she also got pet taxes or pet insurance to the tune of over $700 a month. That's crazy, bro.
And the net pay I receive, which is the amount that I receive in my bank account, is $4,979.30.
That's correct. So she get $5,000, $4,900, $5,000 after a $7,700 paycheck. Now, I don't want to know what she's claiming in her taxes, but her net is the equivalent of about $10,000 a month. Her net is equivalent of about $10,000 a month after her taxes.
32 cents. So my gross pay original number is $7,692, and my net pay is $4,979.32. Okay, and my year-to-date number is the gross pay is okay, 1/3. The gross pay is 134,521.
So at the end of April and 4 months of the year, at the end of April, because our pay period is at the beginning of May, and what the pay period was, it was in between that, is $1,000 or $100,000, $134,000 a year. Let me just double check that.
The gross pay is 134,521.
So $135,000. Her gross pay four months into the year is $135,000. So far, into April. 12 months, 4 months in, $134,000. So she bag chasing. Let me give her some round of applause for that. She bag chasing. She says so far this year, she done already made $134,000 and she broke.
$134,521.85 gross pay year to date. So it's like, if you see this, you'll be like, wow, that's like a lot of money just for the first half of the day already. It's like over 134K. But there's a pre-tax deduction of over 11K. And employee
said Anton, she has to be getting paid weekly, not bi-weekly. Maybe. So let's just go based off of the number that she just shared with us. She said that she made $134,000. It's not even the middle of the year. Y'all also got to remember that she gets huge bonuses, equity, all of that stuff, right? So you're just looking at the base pay, right? A lot of the negotiation is not just based off of the base pay, it's based off of all of the other stuff that comes along with it in the perks. The total employee compensation is the thing that we want to focus on. And more importantly, she said she made $135,000 in a little bit over 4 months of the year, okay? So she's got bonuses, she got a lot of stuff. And that's not including the matches or anything like that. But remember, she said that she's making all of this money and she's still broke.
taxes, okay, employee taxes that I have paid this year is 38K.
She paid more in employee taxes in 4 months of the year than some people make in the entire year. $38,000 in employee taxes. This is why people that make a lot of money, and I'm not saying that she's managing her money effectively, and this is also one of the reasons why you want to tap into the Patreon, link is in the description, because it's not just about how much money you make, it's more or less about how much money you keep. It's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. And very few people know how to manage effectively. What most people do is then they raise their lifestyle up to whatever it is that their paycheck is, and that's what they depend on in order for themselves to be successful. What I'm telling you is to make sure you minimize the amount of money that you're giving out to the things that, or stop raising up your paycheck or raising up your lifestyle according to what you think your paycheck is going to be, and start spending the majority of your money on assets. And that way you can minimize the amount that you're giving over in taxes to the federal government. Well, why? Because the federal government goes off of your adjusted gross income, not how much you make on your W-2. Let's continue.
$38K.
I'm going to let this play
and
out.
There's a post-tax deductions of $23,036. And my net pay, so out of all that 134K, my net pay is 61K.
After, listen, this is an atrocity. This is absolutely atrocities. She says, listen, guys, I made $134,000 already this year. It's not even the middle of the year. $134,000. She said she only took home a little over 60. After net. Now, a lot of people will say, oh man, that's a lot of money. By the end of the year, she'll probably take home $150,000. See, she shouldn't be, nope, you shouldn't be broke. There's no way in the world she should be broke. I agree with you. But see, I look at it from a completely different lens. And I'm saying, okay, wait a minute. That's a lot of money. You taking home less than half. You're working to pay the federal government. That is highway robbery to me. Absolutely 100% highway robbery to me.
$953. So it's like less than half. It's like 40% or something of my gross pay. And okay, what else? So basically my employee taxes is like a combination of OASDI, Medicare, federal withholding, state tax, CASDI. There's like 5 items under the employee taxes. And my pre-tax deductions include 401k, dental, medical, vision amounts. So 4 items for pre-tax deductions. My post-tax deductions are pet insurance, so pet insurance, and also there's RSU offset, which is taxes paid on what withheld on RSU stocks. Yeah, so there'll be a high-level breakdown of how much am I supposed to get gross pay like before.
A lot of y'all need somebody in your life to help y'all manage yourselves because y'all need to be put on a budget. You may be smart, you may be making a lot of money. It doesn't mean that you're making a lot of good financial decisions. And a lot of y'all honestly need guidance. It's so many people that I see on a regular basis that hit me up and say, Anton, I make a whole lot of money, but I'm broke out here in these streets. And when we start going through it, I can tell exactly where it is that you live in your life and how you live in your life and why you're going to be broke for the rest of your life or why you're going to be required to work in order to maintain a lifestyle. It's insane.
Or all the deductions and after all the deductions, and you see it's like about 40% of the original gross pay. So if, let's say my annual package is $300K, the most I can get is 40% of that. So it's about, like $120K or something. Which is about right. So it's about 10K.
Imagine making $300,000 a year and you only take home less than $140, less than $130. Imagine making $300,000 a year and you taking home less than $130, and you live in California, and you paying in order to be able to have this high cost of living. I'm out, bro. I can't do it. I just can't justify it. I cannot justify it. It doesn't make sense to me.
A month. So my actual paycheck is about 10K a month. The money that I get in my bank account.
She get about $120,000 a year in her bank account.
And to be honest, my annual package of $300K is, so it's broken down into like salary, bonus, and RSUs. Where
told you. It's her regular salary, it's her base pay, it's her bonuses, and it's her RSUs.
My base salary is $200K. My bonus, my targeted bonus is 10%. So at most, I'll get 10% of my base salary as a bonus, which is 20K. Yep. But that would be at the most. If the company is not doing well, like if the market performance is not good, which
listen, ultimately what I'm communicating to you guys is that it's not that difficult for you to understand how people can listen. You go out and you buy you a little nice car, you live in a halfway decent part of the neighborhood, you wind up getting pregnant and having a kid or something like that. You live in paycheck to paycheck just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You start taking into consideration maybe a couple of investments here or there. You ain't balling. You ain't getting it like that. I mean, you balling compared to everybody else, but very few people know how to manage money. It's a skill. It's a skill that comes along with what it is that you've learned in order to be able to get to the money. Knowing how to manage the money is also a skill. Real talk. I mean, I could teach you how to get it. I could teach you how to get there. I know the going saying used to be back in the day, I can teach you how to stunt. Nah, I could teach you how to spend your money and invest it in things that's going to add value into your life so that you ain't got to work as hard for the rest of your life and you'll have the option to work not necessarily be required to. That's the difference. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to go too far over the show. I know we 23 minutes in, but we started a little bit earlier so we can get to this. Yeah, man, it's an art form to making money, and it's an art form to everything. It's an art form to communication. It's an art form to being able to manage. It's an art form to investing. And so what I would advocate for you guys to do is make sure you join the Bag Chasers. Make sure you come and meet me in person at the meetup. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. I think y'all the greatest audience on earth. Yeah, man, and we're going to continue to run it up. We're going to get it in. We got Q Show tonight. Join the Patreon. Best time of the month is the beginning of the month. Join the Patreon, the Bag Chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then Tiege Hanley, 30% off your 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life and a free gift. Tap in tonight. Me, Q, the crew. We're going to be kicking it, running it up. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. More to come for the week. It's been an awesome, awesome start to the show. And I promise you I'm going to continue to try to add as much value as I can, putting the medicine inside of the candy, making sure you get entertained, and then also receiving some value as a result of it. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Let me read a couple of more super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. I like fried rice. G says, shout out to the Chasers. Yer. Shout out to the Chasers. Word. I appreciate you, fried rice. Dialect 1 says, Hoppo, ain't no way she broke on $300,000 salary. There's plenty of people that are. And they one paycheck away from losing everything. Young Haiti says, good afternoon, AD. Waiting on a coaching call. She has a spending problem, not an earning issue. She definitely needs to tap in with you. And she got a tax problem. That's one of the biggest problems. Jeremy says, the late Kemba Samuel said winter was coming for women. I thought he meant only the ratchet black ones. Anton has them all here. I love it. Shout out to Jeremy H. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Do me a favor, y'all. On y'all way out the door, I need y'all to do two things. Hit a like for the algorithm. And then last but not least, subscribe to the channel and send this to your family and friends. I guess that's three things. Send this to your family and friends because we don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the Patreon and then on Q Show tonight. Peace.